Chapter 47, Oliver. I take my time driving back to the party. I feel on cloud nine after spending so much of the evening with Kaylee. Parties aren't really my thing anyway. Too many people and too many expectations to interact with people I don't know as well. Holding Kaylee in my arms while we danced was like magic. I hope she couldn't hear my heart pounding like it was trying to beat out of my chest. She makes me so nervous, but in a good way. Tonight sealed my fate. I have well and truly fallen for this girl. I'm glad to have the Carter issue cleared up. I don't know what I would have done if Kaylee was taken. I shake that thought away. The important thing is she's single. Now I just need to show her how special she is and hopefully get her to give me a chance. I still haven't quite worked out how to do that. When I get to the party, everyone seems to be congregated in the living room. I enter in time to watch Casey slap Jet before storming away. The crowd nearby disperses after whatever drama preceding the slap is over now. I see Grayson and walk over to him. He looks upset, but I'm not sure I should dive into that right now. I nod to him in greeting. You missed the drama, Grayson says, returning my nod. Casey wanted to play spin the bottle and then threw a fit when Jet kissed Lynn. He's acting nonchalant, but it's clearly a front. He's obviously bothered by Jet and Lynn kissing, even if it was just for a game. But if he wants to pretend otherwise, I'd rather not deal with his jealousy. Anyway, I guess we should go check on Lynn. Grayson starts across the room. I follow him, already feeling exhausted and ready to go home. Only the Knights are in the hall when we get over there. It is what it is, Lynn shrugs. He'll get over it eventually and leave me alone. Until then, I plan to keep ignoring him. If I react, it'll only encourage him. Do you want us to do something about Mark? Grayson asks. I can see the aggression he's barely containing and hope he doesn't decide to do something about Mark on his own. Don't worry about it. He isn't worth the time or effort. It's not like his behavior is having a real effect on my life. Now, can we please stop talking about mine and Jet's problematic dating lives and go back to the party? Hey, Jet protests. I'm not problematic. Your homecoming date slapped you for kissing another girl, Tristan chuckles, appearing behind me. If that's not problematic, I don't want to know what your definition is. Maybe you and Daniel should start a club. Jessica's glued to Tristan's side. Shut up, Jet rolls his eyes. Anyway, the pool table is open. Jet and Grayson, are you up for a rematch? Tristan points his thumb towards the pool table. Always. I enjoy kicking your butt. Jet bumps Tristan's shoulder as he walks by. Daniel and I play winner. Lynn glances around. Maybe we should ask Andrew and Carter if they want to play. Y'all go set up and I'll find them. I walk off with Lynn following behind me. I mostly want some space from everything. This party already feels stifling. Andrew comes to play pool with us. Carter declines, clearly more interested in the girl he's talking to than hanging out with us. More proof that he and Kaylee aren't remotely a thing. It's more of a relief than I'd like to admit. Andrew hasn't played pool before, so Lynn teams up with him to teach him. It gives her a severe handicap, but she seems fine with losing. She just cheers Andrew on as he tries to figure out what to do. Daniel and I beat them easily, and Lynn challenges Tristan and Jessica to a game. Jessica is just as bad as Andrew, but some of that seems to be because Tristan is very hands-on about teaching her. They seem comfortable being in each other's space, and they aren't even together. They've just been hanging out for a few days. It makes me wish I had that same level of confidence. Tristan seems totally at ease, pressed up against Jessica, flirting as he helps her line up a shot. My palms start to sweat just thinking about being that close to Kaylee. We may have spent most of the dance together, but there was a respectable distance between us the whole time. Not that I want to rush things with Kaylee. She's worth waiting for, and taking things slowly seems the best course of action. I don't want to scare her off or bulldoze her. Our earlier interaction with James tells me she had plenty of being pushed into what other people want. Feeling like an awkward fifth wheel to the pool game, I look around to see where the rest of the Knights have gone. Jed is nowhere in sight, but Daniel and Grayson appear to be having an intense conversation in the corner. I walk across the room to join them. I have a feeling I know what they're talking about, and Daniel looks like he's ready to pull his hair out from dealing with Grayson. Why would I be jealous? Grayson asks as I walk up. If you mean, why should you be jealous? You shouldn't be, I say. There's no reason to be jealous. Lynn's just being friendly with Andrew. Very friendly, Grayson mutters. Dude, chillax. Lynn isn't looking for another relationship right now. She needs her friends supporting her through this nonsense with Mark, not being jealous jerks. Daniel stares Grayson down. I'm not being a jerk, Grayson crosses his arm. Not to her directly, but right now anger's coming off of you in waves. Be patient. If it's meant to be, it'll work out. I gently pat his arm. Is it so wrong that I want her to think of me as more than a friend? Or that I want her to think of me when she's ready to date again? By the way this week is going, she's more likely to think of Jet or Andrew. Grayson throws his hands up in the air. Lynn and Jet are just friends. You know that. Kissing during a game doesn't mean anything. You being a jealous idiot because of that kiss will be a bigger deal to Lynn than the kiss was. Daniel leans back against the wall. It wasn't only a kiss. They full-on made out for 7 minutes, and it didn't look like Lynn regretted it, Grayson pouts. Lynn is a good kisser. Grayson turns his anger and jealousy my way. Hey, don't give me that look. I raise my hands in defense. I might not care about her that way, but it doesn't change the facts. From what the girls around the school say, so is Jet. It's stand to reason that if they're both good kissers, they'd enjoy kissing each other. That doesn't mean it'll happen again or that it meant anything to either of them. I shrug. I may not get kissing with no feelings being involved, but it's something the other nights seemed to do. I don't see why it's a big deal now. But what if it did? What am I going to do if she starts dating my best friend? Deal with it when it's actually a problem, Daniel says. If they get together, avoid them until you're comfortable with it. Honestly, even if they got together, can you see that lasting very long? They're both so much alike and so hard-headed. It'd take one disagreement about anything and it'd be over. Just being friends, they're like oil and water. They can only spend so much time together before they get into a fight and need space from each other. Daniel gestures to where Jet has joined the group at the pool table. It looks like he and Lynn are bickering over something. And Jet doesn't get along with Xander. I don't think you need to worry about Jet. I look at Grayson with compassion. I get liking someone who doesn't seem to return your feelings. But how do you know they won't start dating? Are you both forgetting her relationship with Oliver started from a kiss during a similar party game? Grayson gestures towards me. But that was years ago, and Lynn has kissed multiple guys during party games she never dated. This isn't even the first time they've kissed during a party game, Daniel says. But she was practically dating someone else or fresh out of a relationship. This is different. They're both single. The one time before when she kissed one of her best friends in a party game and they were both single, they started dating. I shake my head. What happened in junior high is completely different from what just happened. Let the issue about Jet drop. It's in your head. Other than us being older, how is it different? Grayson asked, looking irritated. For one, we're older and supposed to be more mature. For two, Jet and Oliver are so not the same person. For three, Daniel trails off, looking at me. For three, Grayson asked, looking between us. I let out a sigh. So much for hoping Lynn could keep a secret from Daniel. I should have known she'd tell you no matter what she promised. Sometimes I wish Lynn had a girl best friend. It at least saved my pride a little. Hey, trust me, Lynn treating me like her girl best friend is no walk in the park for me either, Daniel says. There may be a few tidbits of information you don't want me to know, but there's a whole mountain of information I wish she'd never told me. Some of which seems to be permanently branded on my brain, no matter how much I wish I could forget it. I'm curious as to what you're talking about, but I think whatever it would be mentally scarring, I say. Sorry to interrupt, Grayson waves his hands between us, but do either of you want to clue me in on what you're talking about? Daniel shrugs and looks at me. I glance up to the ceiling, hoping this won't be as embarrassing of a conversation as I think it will be. I look back down at Grayson and take a deep breath. I blurt out my response as fast as possible, like ripping off a Band-Aid. When was my first kiss? That makes this different. Can we please talk about something else now? Grayson's mouth hangs open. Wait, what? How can that be true? You had other girlfriends before Lynn. If Lynn was your first kiss, wouldn't I have known that? I dated a couple other girls before Lynn, but never did more than hold hands with them. You didn't know because I didn't tell you. I feel my face heat up, and I'm glad no one else is nearby to hear this conversation. It's still embarrassing now, knowing I was the last one of us to be kissed. It was much more embarrassing at the time. I didn't want anyone to know. But Lynn knew and Daniel knew? I wasn't going to lie to Lynn to save my pride, I start. And Lynn tells me everything, Daniel finishes. I hope that everything didn't mean everything, but I guess that was wishful thinking on my part, I say. If it makes you feel better, she gave significantly less details about you than her other boyfriends. Daniel gives me an encouraging pat on the arm. I turn to face Daniel fully. Mostly that makes me curious and a little afraid. I'm not telling you anything Lynn's told me in confidence. And trust me, you don't want to know. Daniel shudders. Back to the issue at hand. neither of you think Lynn kissing Jet is the same as her kissing Oliver because she wasn't Jet's first kiss? Grayson sounds like he doesn't believe us. Basically, yes, I turned back to Grayson. Tonight wasn't even their first kiss, so it's completely different. They've kissed a lot, though, and tonight they made out. Grayson waves his hands around to make his point. Which means they have a history of kissing with it not meaning anything. Daniel rolls his eyes. The point is, stop comparing tonight to what happened with Oliver. Their kiss meant something to each of them at the time. I guarantee that kiss meant nothing to Jet or Lynn. What about Andrew? Grayson asked. Lynn danced with him for most of homecoming. In my opinion, that's because Lynn doesn't want to date right now, and Andrew doesn't flirt with her. Daniel rubs his temples. She seems to be flirting with him right now. Grayson looks forlornly at the pool table. She's being friendly and teaching him to play pool. You don't own her, and you need to calm down. Daniel snaps his fingers in front of Grayson's face, bringing his attention back to us. I'm worried Oliver got in her head earlier about being a player and having a thing for jocks. What if she decides she doesn't want to date jocks anymore? Or that she should at least try dating someone who doesn't play sports? Andrew would be her first pick. He isn't like any of her exes. I think you're way overthinking this and getting yourself worked up over nothing, Oliver says. I say, you need to relax and stop worrying about every guy that interacts with Lynn. Lynn doesn't put up with overbearing, controlling, or jealous boyfriends. If you're concerned about things working out with Lynn, maybe first work on dialing back your possessiveness. Then, when you're no longer getting jealous every time she's around other guys, try dating her. That'd give her time to be ready to date and give your relationship overall a better chance. I listen to Oliver, Daniel says, before Grayson can argue. Keep in mind, he's the only one who's ever had any sort of long-term relationship, as well as the guy who's dated Lynn the longest. If only my past experience helped me with Kaylee. Everything is different with her, and it makes me feel like I've never dated before. Everything is new, and I don't know what I'm doing. Fine, I'll try to work on it. Can we talk about something else now? Grayson crosses his arms. How about it taking nearly an hour for Oliver to make a 10-minute trip to Lynn's house? Daniel asked, turning towards me. Anything you want to tell us about your car ride with the Queen of Punk? There's nothing to tell. Nothing happened. Daniel cocks his eyebrow with a disbelieving smirk on his face. For real, nothing happened. We talked. We did get to know each other a little bit better, though. I think it has potential. I know I'm blushing, which isn't helping my argument. What about Lynn's concerns about what's his name? Daniel waves his hands in the air to indicate the guy whose name he's forgotten. James showed up at the dance and was a jerk to Kaylee. I'm confident whatever bad blood there is between the two of them is his fault. Lynn didn't scare her off with whatever interrogation took place before the dance, so I'm not worried about Lynn, I shrugged. If so, then it won't be long before Lynn gives her seal of approval. Then you can start planning the wedding. Grayson lightly punches my shoulder. Hardy har har, you're so hilarious. And I don't need Lynn's approval to date anyone. She doesn't get to decide who I date. I cross my arms, irritated that Grayson treats me like I'm so much younger than him. We're basically the same age. Let's pretend that's true. Grayson rolls his eyes. Kaylee isn't in our usual group, so who knows? He might not need Lynn's approval. Kaylee doesn't seem to be afraid of Lynn, Daniel says. I don't need her approval anyway. I glare at them. I hate both of you. You love us, and you know it. Daniel pulls me into an unwilling hug. I pull away from him, and Grayson claps me on the shoulder. For real, though, I'm happy for you. At least homecoming went well for one Ryder brother. Looks like they're almost done with their game. Let's go play before Grayson can go back to moping. Daniel gestures to the pool table. I'm not moping. Sure. Daniel walks off.